Recording in progress.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the February edition of the Tips and Tricks SIG. We're going to have our typical format tonight, which will be open forum, and then we'll go into the topics that I had emailed out the other day. That being said, who would like to open up the floor with the first question or problem of the evening? None. This is great.
I'll make a comment.
Okay, comment.
My wife doesn't use her phone very much, but I was trying to get her, and she's technically challenged, but I was trying to explain to her how to use Google Maps on an iPhone. So I said, well, you got to turn on data, you got to turn on location services, and you got to make sure that the map is turned on to use location services. That got her all confused, so I was trying to find an easier way. And I think if I leave the maps, the use of the maps on all the time, and I think I can leave location services on all the time, but leave data turned off, and that way location services still won't work, so her battery won't be drained, and she'd only have one thing to push. So
Why not just leave it all turned on?
Well, I was trying to save her battery.
Well, you can tell it to only use it location services if you're using the map.
Yeah, right.
Well,
That's right.
I think if you turn location services on, if you have other software that uses location services, won't that activate it if you have data on also?
Not if you don't give permission.
It's the same thing. In the iPhone, each app you give permission to
Right.
what can and cannot
Right,
do.
I understand that.
So if you had 6 apps that use location services, it's only when that app is open and running that it's going to turn on the location service, or it's going to utilize that feature.
Okay,
If you follow me. So it's,
I
are you
follow
going to
you.
have overlap? Could be, but I think you're fretting over the small details.
maybe.
And let her, if her battery runs low, then she'll get that's something easy for her to kind of keep an eye on, and charging it. If you have a charging pad available that she could just walk by and just drop it on and not have to plug it in or anything.
Yeah, well, both cars have charging ports.
Okay.
They both have Apple CarPlay, so that's not a problem. She'd plug it in.
Yeah, to me, you'd want to keep it as simple as possible.
Okay,
And just, if you have to leave things up and running, do so.
well, I think that's probably the best solution.
Yeah, and especially for anybody that's technically challenged. And Apple products are perfect for somebody who's technically challenged. You set it up, Bill sets it up, and she will not have to worry about it. Just give her a simple instruction, to use maps, you push this map button right there, okay?
Yep.
You can also check on which app is using all your battery. It'll actually, in descending order, there's one you can go in and look that up. And if you got some app,
You know how to find that, Wayne?
I can't remember right offhand, but I did that just recently because I've got one of these things that it's.
I can Google it.
By the way, on iPhones, there is a new release out for an active exploit.
For what?
16.3.1.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's saying there's another update that just came out.
Yeah.
Bill, all you do is you go to General, you go to Settings, and you scroll down to Battery, which is,
I'll find it.
you go down to Battery,
Okay.
Yeah,
and then you tap on that, and it'll bring you to. It will show you immediately. It'll show you down the list battery usage by app, and it'll show you
yeah,
how much each app is using
All
and how
right.
much activity.
Okay,
So I mean, it's really, and it could be within the last 24 hours or the last 10 days. It gives you those two options.
all right.
yeah, it actually gives you a graph.
Right.
I don't have my iPhone down here, so.
But it's pretty simple to find this stuff here. So you could see if there's anything really using it up. How old is her phone?
It's a 7.
Oh,
Oh,
it's got some miles underneath it.
Yeah, well, mine's an 8. We don't, we don't use phones that much,
Well, it's more like time miles. It's got a lot of data. I don't know when the iPhone 7 came out. What is that, 6 years old?
probably.
Yeah. Now, did you ever try to get the battery upgraded on that one or fixed? I think, was that the one that had the battery problem from Apple?
Don't remember.
I don't know. She doesn't have a battery problem. I was just trying to extend the battery life when she's walking around with it. It really hasn't been a problem. It's just me fooling around.
on mine, my VPN is the one that uses the most on mine.
That means it's your browser because your VPN goes through your browser, right?
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I don't remember which one it was. There, one of the phones that they had to go and offer some battery replacement for
right.
free or cheap or
Yeah,
something like that. And you could Google it to see which one it was. And I don't know if that program is still in place by Apple or not. It may no longer be there, but you could look into it just to see if you have a battery issue, you can maybe get Apple to take care of it for free or cheap. That's a good thing.
iPhone 6.
What's iPhone 6? That's what you have?
No, that's the one with the battery issue.
Oh, okay.
Right.
you might not be able to upgrade all the way either with that. I don't know whether you
Yeah,
can
we've,
get
we've
the,
been able to so far.
have you? Okay. My wife had a problem. There was some sort of an app that she wanted to use, and she had to upgrade to like an iPhone 8. I think she had a 6.
Yeah.
Okay, next question, new direction. Yes, Dennis.
I want to thank Tim. Thanks to Tim, you can now see me without my
Okay.
screen rolling, scrambling.
Yeah.
After our last meeting we had, Tim sent me an email saying to update, make sure I'm on Zoom 5.13.5. And I checked, I found I was 0.1 less. I was 5.13.4. I upgraded to 5, and here it is.
Yeah, look at that. So the problem wound up being Zoom.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
and it's now up to 0.7.
Yeah, I just upgraded before we came on.
Okay. Great.
Boy, I don't even know which one
Well,
I'm on.
now with the 7, I've seen a pop-up screen when it was updated that I've never seen before about the fact that it will automatically update. So
Oh.
maybe once you get to 0.7, we may not have to check and download and upgrade Zoom manually again. I say maybe.
Okay. Yeah,
If you have it set for automatic, they have improved delivery of the automatic updates. In other words, what you received by way of notification was an update about updating.
Yeah. But that was going from 5 to 7.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
But
already had
I didn't
the
get any
automatic
notice.
update checked on my configuration anyhow.
Yeah, I don't
I
do
think-
automatic update I just check before each Zoom meeting, make sure there
Yeah.
isn't anything new, make sure everything's working. I even do the private little meeting. Oh well, guess that's just me.
This is America.
No, and that's how I found out today that my mic wasn't working. So I had to reset, reset everything. I wouldn't want that to happen during a meeting.
No, 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 no. And tell me those powers to be, how do we find out what version of Zoom we're on?
You just launch it.
Okay, if you
Okay.
have if you have the app on your desktop or some other way, you just open it, and it'll probably be under the little gear on the right hand, on the far right hand side, if you're on a Windows desktop, under settings and statistics. Will tell you the version you're on at the bottom line under your bandwidth, network type, etc.
And that's the other thing. You can go to the camera, the little up
Yeah.
caret, open
Yeah.
up your settings, go down to the statistics tab line, open it up, and it should tell you exactly what version you're on.
And
You
what are
have to
we up
use
to
video
now?
settings.
Yeah, that's a
Go to-
shortcut that'll lead you to the same place.
Yeah.
So what version are we on now?
5.13.7 if we're most up to date on
Right.
Windows. It may differ on other platforms.
Yeah, 5.13.7 was the last one I knew about a couple
Yeah.
days back.
Yeah.
Thank you for that bit of information about Zoom. Dennis, that works great. Glad to hear that. Glad to see that problem has been solved. I think, Tim, you were having a problems with your video getting torn too.
On this one machine only, I thought it had updated to 5. It didn't. It was still sitting on 4. That's why I had the video problem, just like
Okay.
Dennis had.
Okay.
That's when I finally found and forced it up to 5. It's disappeared. Then I got 7. No more problems still.
Okay, next question, new direction. Next topic.
What was the first topic?
And we can, I guess, if you guys want, we can go right into our topics for the evening, unless somebody else has something they want to discuss. I think I mentioned at West Side, before I go into our meetings at topics, that I had an SSD that failed on me last month, and it was still covered under warranty. I only had it for 6 months, and it just crapped out. This is like my 4th SSD that's died on me, 4th or 5th. I don't know what it is about me.
Well, isn't that been used on your server?
No, this SSD was just a standalone in a Windows Media Center running Windows 7 that I don't use frequently at all. It's an infrequently used machine. Maybe a couple of times a week I'll turn it on, let it do its thing, and I let it shut it down afterwards. So it's more like it's power cycled up. It's not running at 24/7.
Yeah.
So I did send that one out. It wound up being covered under warranty. Went back to Taiwan. Taiwan sent me a new one, and I popped it in. This group may know, I'm running a Microsoft Windows home server, and I did a bare metal restore on there, which means I just plugged in a USB stick and let it boot off that stick, and it pulled the complete backup from the server and pucked it onto it formats the drive, it puts all the partitions the way it's supposed to be, and it was up and running in less than a half hour. And it's rocking just great. It's just a testimonial of how it worked for me. That is the reason that I still use that old ancient product that's no longer supported anymore, because it works. It just does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, but see, Windows until recently was only designed to function with a spinning hard drive. So there's at least 8 or more settings that are for a hard drive that will shorten the life of an SSD.
Oh, sure, absolutely. I don't care. I guess I don't care because to replace that drive was like 25 bucks when it's on sale. It's less than $50. And, uh, had it not been covered by warranty, I would have just sent it. I would have bought it, just wanted buying a new drive. I'll say that it failed. It didn't fail because of excessive write use or no trimming being done. It failed just because the controller failed. It just failed. There
I
was there was no problem with blocks that I had anything locked out or anything bad sectors. Nothing was ever reported on there.
question Sanford.
And I am really smart.
Do
Sorry.
you uh, do you buy brand name SSDs or just the junk SSDs that are out there?
This particular one was a junk SSD, but
I think
I will say, yes, I do buy brand names. I've had
yeah.
I think it was two Samsungs that have died on me
Hmm.
um, within the last X number of years. And I don't remember what the other brands of the other one that croaked out on me, but this one was a junk brand, one that was sold through Newegg. It's called Team Group, and it's their low end machine, their low end things. I think it might only be sold through Newegg. Anyways, but
Well,
I
that's that
think
particular model.
yeah, I think it's a house brand of
It
Newegg.
could be a house brand.
the
I
I get a mix of stuff. On the good machines, I do the brand names, and on real old stuff, I'll use whatever I can get my hands on, even used drives. But I use Samsung heavily, and I got a couple Plex stores. Uh, but I also have an in-store brand from Micro Center that was called Inland. That's
yeah.
Micron drives. I've got one Western Digital I know, a Kingston, and one other. I think maybe it was a Western Digital Blue or something like that.
Yeah, WD Blue are very good SSDs.
Very good.
And
Yep.
by the way, Inland, even though it's a store brand, uses a decent controller.
Yes.
I believe it's a Phison.
All I know is every one of them I got from Micro Center, the 2.5 inch form or the M.2s have all
Yeah.
been working great. We even got the M.2 in CCS's computer that Beata uses.
Um, can someone correct me? M.2s, they do not have a controller on board, correct?
Yes, they do.
They
Yeah,
do.
yes, they do.
Okay.
There is one thing that isn't always present on an SSD. I forget exactly what it is, but it has to do with caching.
Okay.
And it affects the sequential write speed. The throughput on sequential writes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's has to do with, shall we say, the low end SSDs. They have poor write speeds and rewrite speeds compared to their read speeds, and it can be as much as 50% difference.
Yeah, and I think this is because there's a component which the higher end drives have in the drive that is not present inside the drive in the lower end ones.
Right. It's a weird thing, but I noticed that way back when I started playing with the SSDs, that the disparity between write and rewrite versus the read speed, it was like, what the heck's wrong with this picture? And because then when you look at the good popular brand names of like Samsung as an example, the read write and write speeds versus the read speeds were very close together in their speeds. So there had to be something missing, and eventually I came across what he did too, and that is the low end ones, probably for a penny or two, didn't put a component on the cheap ones.
Yeah. And that component works along with caching memory or buffering in order to maintain a high throughput
Yeah.
during prolonged writing or during sequential writes.
There's a lot of things that are very cheap, inexpensive for the manufacturers to do because they have such bulk volume, and yet they cheapen it up, lower the price, yes, but that means that for the ones that have it, they're probably inflating the price.
Yeah, they do. There is a premium price charged for having a very cheap internal component. But for example, the Samsung Evo series, which is one of my favorite ones, they also have a Pro series that's even higher end. I In all of these, they have the internal component, and they have a noticeable difference when I'm transferring like 50 gigabytes at a time. A noticeable difference versus the cheap store brand that I had.
Oh yeah, it makes a big difference what you buy. You got to look at the numbers just to know, hey, am I getting one that is so cheap it's going to give me slower level of performance closer to a hard disk,
Yeah.
or do I pay a bit more and get the better model that's going to give me the increased performance I'm looking for?
And also consider whether or not you're going to need to do something about heat generation.
Yeah, especially on the M.2s. I haven't had a
Because,
problem with the old 2.5s. I think because the ones that I had aluminum cases to start
yeah,
with, but M.2s, they're starting to come with heat sink
yeah,
with material. I have one where it was a separate heat sink bought separately with material that is double sided adhesive. You could stick it on any M.2.
yeah. Some enclosures come with that also. I The main difference is when you move up to Thunderbolt 4 and 5.
Yeah,
When you move beyond Thunderbolt 3, you'll run into these heat issues.
yeah, and you also on a modern machine that supports PCIe 5. You'll really start
Yeah.
noticing it there too.
PCIe 4 and 5. Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
4 is not as bad as 5. 5 it sounds
Right.
like it's wants to burn everything up, including your house.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of 5 at this point.
I've only gone into 4.
But
I don't have anything higher.
anyway, it's nice that Sanford got his drive
Yeah.
replaced.
It was just to give you guys a quick rundown that here's what happened to me and why I still rock the equipment that I do because it still works. It still does what I need it to do. And
Yeah.
an example of how it worked. And boy, doing that restore was, just pick which restore date that I wanted to go to and tell it that's the one, and it just does it. So, um, anyways, shall we go on to our topics for the evening? And did everyone get a list of the topics, or do I need to repost this?
No, I got it.
No, did anyone not get it?
If you got
Okay, good. That being said, shall we first start with the very first thing
might
that's
as
on?
well. I bit the bullet on that finally. I think it was Monday. So I did two things on ChatGPT, and
Presentations?
yeah, I asked it a couple things. Like as an example, I said, "What is normal?"
Oh, so I'm sorry, you said you actually loaded it and tried it out.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so before we go to what you have there, Tim, which is great, I want to go there. Did anyone, our topic's going to be ChatGPT. We're going to start out with this one. Did anyone else here log in, or get to the website, create an account, and test it? We got 2 people, 3. 3 including me. All right, well, at least some of us had tried this out. So
It's hilarious.
it
Or
is,
can
it
be.
is. And I'm going to first play a quick audio, if I can figure out how I do this with the shared screen. And bear with me. I'm going to pull up my iTunes and share sound, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
this way will sound good, good. All right, so I have this one, it's an audio clip, and I'm only going to play it for just like about a minute or so. This is from NPR. I subscribe to a podcast called Science Friday. Comes out once a week, and I think this comes out of Iowa or something like that. Anyways, they're interviewing somebody in regards to ChatGPT, and they're giving an explanation of what it is. So let's start with a common ground, so everyone knows what this is.
Thank you for having us.
Can you
You're
hear this?
welcome. Dr. Mitchell, to start off, let's start with what seems like a basic question that's actually kind of difficult to answer. What is artificial intelligence? What does it mean for a machine or an algorithm, Dr. Mitchell, to have intelligence?
Yeah, that is a difficult question to answer because everybody has their own definition. So AI is really getting machines to do things that we believe requires intelligence in some form. So back, in the early days of AI, playing chess was an example of something that people thought really required very high-level general intelligence. And yet we were able to get computers to play chess without really using anything like human intelligence. And now it's gone even further. We're able to get machines to produce language and images and other media in a way that looks very human-like. So whatever seems to require intelligence at the time, that's what we call AI, is getting it in machines.
Yeah, so I would imagine if you asked 3 different people, they would say 3 different things of what they think intelligence, AI is.
Yeah, exactly. There's many different definitions.
Can you explain briefly, I hope, how ChatGPT or similar chat programs work? Almost seems like a bit of magic. You ask it to write a term paper and it spits one out.
Yeah, so this is a ChatGPT is a kind of what's called language model, which is a program that's learned from vast amounts of human-generated language. And the way it's trained is it's given text, like a sentence, and it's asked to predict a missing word. And it's doing that over and over again for huge amounts of data that it's been trained on, from websites to digital books to all of Wikipedia and so on. And then now you can give it a prompt, like, write an essay on the causes of the American Civil War, and it will then predict, in some sense, what words should go next over and over again, and will generate something that sounds very, very human-like.
Listening to that little AI voice at the top of me, it doesn't...
Okay, I'll stop that. I think, did everyone here get a good general concept of what AI is and what ChatGPT is? Anyone not follow us at this point?
I would like to make a distinction
Please do.
between the 2 types of AI we're talking about. The use of the term intelligence really is complete nonsense. It is not intelligence as humans know intelligence. It is a bunch of expert algorithms trained by human trainers. Human intervention is necessary at every stage. And this is where ChatGPT is going to show its weaknesses, if you want to follow the topic.
And I will say, let's start out to say, this is not baked. This is totally testing. This is an open source project that is riddled with problems, that is, inaccuracies and blah, blah, blah. That's not the point here. We're not looking at how bad it is or what it does wrong. We want to see what can it do for me? Is this something I could use as an everyday tool? And then also, where is it possibly going to go from this point forward? Okay, so I would encourage everybody to download, or not to download, because there's nothing to download. You just go to the website where I have the
Log
link,
in.
create an account if you have not already. You can use your you could use your Google account. You can use an account associated with an email, whatever you want, and create a login, log in, and then it just gives you a dialog box, and that's where you start, and you can start typing in there. There's many scenarios for how people have utilized this, but I think this is something that we should explore, and we can explore that. Let me get something going here.
Well, the information is only good up until like 2021. It tells you that if you're asking about something right, just real recent, it's not going to know anything about it.
That's no
Very
longer
true.
true. That's no longer true. They've trained it all the way up to the present.
Oh, then I
And
heard it was the 2020.
it
Oh.
has been used and misused by journalists very recently this year, and that information came right up to the present time. And depending on how it was trained, you could tell where it was making mistakes, where it had built-in bias. So it's fascinating, but you have to be very careful not to take it too serious. So how do you create an account and do all that?
Hold on, I want to make sure my session is still working. Okay,
Bert's got a
it
question.
is still working.
Got a question.
Go ahead.
How about, can you tell us the history of the Chicago Computer Society on this thing?
I think that's something we could, okay, Bert?
Yeah.
The what if questions, we can try, but I would recommend that every person here create an account and try this out and see if it gives you the answers you're looking for. It may not be correct, it may be correct. But let me first, go ahead.
Well, but it's not on Bing yet, and that's where I would find it. So there's 1 million people who signed up for it, and it's not available to everybody yet by a long shot. So when it gets to Bing, I'll be able to do that.
Well, you could do it right now, though.
Right.
But I want to do it in Google.
No, it's not Google.
It's
It's
not
not
Google.
It's
I don't
their
want it.
own.
Google has their own, but they have not released it yet.
This one is an independent open source site.
Right.
Right.
So it's about as safe to use as anything I can imagine.
I said early on, you could log in with your Google account. You do not have to. You can log in with your email and create a password to get in there. It's just trying to reduce the abuse and number of people trying to get in and eliminate bots and stuff. I think is what they're trying to do.
Well, when it's available in my area, I'll be happy to poke at it. But
Well, that would be your own personal limitation or restriction that you want to put on it, but it's a biased reason for not trying it out. But anyways, everyone can see I created a login, and it brought me to this page, and I'll just do this clear conversation and tell it to. Let's do that. And as you can see, this is really all you get on this page is you have the word ChatGPT, and you have a box down here at the bottom is where you type. And
It says right there, 2021 events, limited knowledge of world and events after 2021.
there you go.
Right-hand corner.
Tell me the history. We'll try this of the Chicago.
I don't think that 2021 limitation is going to prevent it from telling our history.
No.
No.
Thinking.
Now it does. This is generating this in real time. This is why it's coming out like this slowly.
One of the most influential computer groups. How about that?
How about this, Bert?
Yeah.
Is this a reason to try this out? Because it knows the history of CCS.
Well, it's certainly appropriate for this group.
Yeah. And it's going and going and going. And you know what? I've not read, this is a test that I never tried.
Well,
So
40 years, we got a lot of stuff out there.
yes, we do. So you can utilize this product, this GPT, to write things for you, to do a little research for you, give you answers to questions in a nicely placed thing. But you can also have it rewrite something for you. Case in point, I needed to write a paragraph describing something, and I wrote out blah blah blah, and then I told it rewrite this paragraph, and within less than a moment, less than a minute, it rewrote the paragraph, beautifully written, that included all the essential points, but it put it in a much better perspective than it had done before. My wife had shown, she heard about this workshop that people were going to, or they were testing out in the real estate industry. One of the problems real estate agents have is they have a very small paragraph or section that they could write a descriptive paragraph about a piece of property that's available. And after you've done 100 of these things or seen thousands of them, it's hard to come up with any unique way to describe property. You know, it's using the keywords that everyone uses. They have found that ChatGPT can do this for them. It can write a property description for them and return it in a much better way than they could use. And they could use that as a tool, copy it, don't necessarily paste it, but copy it and modify it to fit exactly what your needs are. So there's purposes here that you could utilize this in all kinds of things. Someone else want to chime in?
Well, I did.
I noticed on my Facebook, or not Facebook, but I belong to a chemical engineering group, and some of the chemical engineers tried using this for some of the things that were more technical, and they did run into some problems.
Okay, I could totally understand and see that being an issue that could come up in any field.
I just did, like I say, Monday when I tried this out. I looked for what is normal, because you hear on the news and various media, all I want to do is get back to normal. Well, what's normal? So I stuck that in to see what Chat GTP would do.
By the way, at the end of what it wrote about the Chicago Computer Society, do you notice something?
Yes.
Yeah,
Here's the inaccuracy of it. We were just talking about
right.
it. It is inaccurate.
The
By the way,
question is, what sources did it use to arrive at those conclusions?
I don't know, because it says we were disbanded in 2012.
Where is its source for that information, I
I
wonder?
don't know. I don't know.
Is somebody out there saying we don't exist anymore?
No, I don't know.
That's interesting.
Incorrect response.
Because
I can doubt it's wrong.
if there is something wrong with it and we can track down where that's coming from, we might be able to get more people to want to attend our Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder who reported that.
It could be a disgruntled person, too.
I think the Boston Computer Group said we're closed so people will join their clubs.
I don't know of anybody in Boston who ever mentions CCS.
All right. So you're also supposed to tell it if it has an incorrect response, which I just told it that it had an incorrect response, to see if it tells me anything. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. There you go. Now it's correcting it.
I would be interested in our demise in 2012 too, but who knows if you'll ever find the exact reference.
I don't know.
Well, the thing is, ChatGPT has to have had an exact reference. The information had to get in there from some specific source.
All right, so here's
Hey,
a
Santa,
here's an inflection at the very last part here. It says here that we are the longest running computer user group in the United States. Bert, Tim, is that true?
Well, we're working on our 40th year.
Well, it says
Yeah.
that. Does that make us the longest running one?
I can tell you that MIT and the Boston area have some groups that have histories that go back a bit further, and in California they have some.
Okay, it says one of the longest
Yeah,
running.
one of is absolutely
Okay,
correct.
so it does not say we are the longest running. It says that we have members over 4 decades, which we do.
hey, Sanford,
Yes, sir.
here's a question. So if someone else were to go out and ask that same question to ChatGPT tomorrow or the next day, is it going to give them the same original response that you got, or is it going to assume what you said is correct and give them this new response?
I would say anyone in this group right now can go and test that question.
That's
If
right.
you have an account, log in. If you haven't, create one, log in, and ask the question. And then we'll know, because Dennis, I don't know your answer. I don't know how quickly it learns from its mistakes. But I think that's a very valid point. But I think the answer lies in somebody else asking the question.
Can you copy what it wrote so we have that?
Yes, you can.
I copy this.
Yeah, you can do a highlight
Can you
and
download it?
copy paste. You can do both of them.
I would think it would give you the same points, but maybe in a different format, in a different writing.
If you were to enter the same query,
Yeah, that's my guess.
it probably has already adapted. If it took the response from Sanford as being authentic.
All right, so I copied it. Now what do you guys want me to do with this
You
copy?
paste it into a text or a word processor.
Yeah, make it into a document.
Make it
Yeah, put
into
it-
a document.
Just put it in chat.
No, that would be too
No,
much
no.
for chat. Trust
Okay.
me.
It's too lengthy.
Yeah,
It would either go into Notepad, WordPad, or Word.
No, I got it. I put it into a document and
Oh, email it to Tim or me or whatever.
yeah. Okay, all right.
I don't know that it would accept for the future what Sanford told it, because then everybody in the world could go out and say false things and have those
Yes.
generated.
And this
If
has
it's
been
open
one of the
source-
weaknesses.
Yeah, if it's open source, it would probably.
Yeah.
I don't know
Russian-
that it would. I don't know that it would include this as authoritative until the people who are programming it decide to look into it and decide whether or not they think it ought to be in there. Again, it's very dependent on the people programming it to make corrections.
Now, it was the history of the Chicago Computer Society, or
Yeah, yep. Tell me the history of the Chicago Computer Society.
wrong
Yeah.
one. All right, the
According to Chatbot.
of
Yeah, Tim's
I'm
testing
doing
it
this
now.
on Linux, by the way.
Yeah, he's doing it through his Linux and through a different login.
That was the purpose of me saying have somebody else do this.
All right,
Yeah,
let's see what it comes up with. Well, we were founded in '78, according to this one so far. It's still building it.
Now, which was it, 75 or 78 that we were founded?
Well, go back 40 years and you'll know.
75,
Yeah, actually, it was 74.
74. Okay.
And actually, there were 2 years in a prior group, which became our group before that.
Ah,
Okay, so we see how this works here, and then Tim will give us a report and tell us if they made that change or did it come up
Hey,
with anything different.
it doesn't say we're in demise, but
Okay,
it's lengthier than the one you got there the second
Yeah.
time. But it also doesn't say back to 74 or 75 in this one. It says was founded in 78 by a group of computer enthusiasts. Society quickly grew in popularity as personal computers became more advanced and widely available throughout the 80s and 90s again. However, with the rise of the internet and proliferation of online communities, the role of the CCS began to change. The society struggled to adapt to a new landscape, and the membership declined as many members began to turn to online resources and forums. Today, the CCS still exists as a non for profit organization, but it is a shadow of its former self. The group continues to hold occasional meetings and events, but its influence and impact on the Chicago computing community has waned. Nevertheless, the society remains an important part of the history of computing in the Midwest, and its legacy lives in the many individuals whose lives were touched by the group over the years.
Yeah.
boy, see that they did change that last paragraph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Last two
I guess,
paragraphs.
Dennis, that answered the question. Does it update and learn? Yes. And this is part of the programming. If the, as Bob had put it, somebody physically programming, or is it self-programming itself because it's learning from its mistakes? And I think that's the AI part.
Yeah. It does both. It will alter its algorithms, but only within certain parameters. If anything more than that is needed, it needs human intervention.
Of course, of course. This is still in it's not beginning stages. This is kind of like middle development stages. So let's come up with some more reasons to try to test this out. We gave it one predicament. Shall we try something else?
By the
Like,
way, this could be a good thing to attach this document to our website as a reference.
Yeah.
yeah, okay, but that's a, anyways, let's kind of move on.
Why don't you tell it about our website and our Facebook?
No, I'm not looking to do that. I'm not like,
What,
Yeah.
what if you
I'm
told
trying
it,
to, I
what if
want to
you
stay.
told it, what if you told it that Donald Trump was the current president of CCS? Would it take that?
I don't want to mess with that.
No.
You want to do, Dennis, you want to mess with it because that could mess up its database. And now every time it's going to talk, it's going to tell us that Donald Trump is the president.
Yeah, the FBI is going to be at your door.
Well,
Yeah, well,
but that's
but
what
you're
I see
giving
as
it,
that's
you'd
what
be
I see
giving
as a
it
big
false,
problem with this thing. Yeah.
but you'd be giving it false information. Okay. And I don't think that's our goal here is to mess it up.
No.
I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying that I can see certainly millions, thousands of people giving it false information about different.
Possibly, but it could also turn around and double check what you're saying against something that says, yes, this is real or not real. I don't know. Okay. We don't know, maybe when I told it that the society is still there, it pulled back to where it was pulling that information and said, oh, that's wrong, and found some other information that collaborated what I was saying. I don't know, but that's speculation. I'm trying to convey here, this is what we have before us. Let's put it through some test scenarios to see how this could benefit us in our daily lives or some aspect of our lives.
Ask it to tell us about electric vehicles.
Okay. Tell me about electric cars. And this could become a very lengthy response here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it's going to go through how they work.
Yeah.
It's probably going to go through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And, we could tell it to keep going. It'll keep going.
And benefits of electric cars.
Yeah. Yeah, they got the BEVs and the plug-ins, PHEVs.
At the end of item number one, it just says you can charge it on a regular household outlet. That's not quite.
Right.
Well,
They're a little.
Well, you can.
Yes, you can.
You can charge them in a 110 outlet. It just takes
Right.
forever and a day.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes.
Oh yeah. My
You can-
Tesla, I was able to charge on that, and my Toyota that I've got now, I can charge on that.
You can charge them on an appliance circuit, which can carry a higher amount of current.
Right.
I remember when I was traveling and staying at a hotel and I saw somebody had an EV and they had just a long extension cord running out the window of their hotel room to their car to charge it up. And that's only 110. So that just proves that, what we know here. Let's see, is it still going?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So it looks
about
like
the future.
it ended at the future of.
Yeah.
So that was you could read through and see if there's inaccuracies in here. But if anything, if you were writing a report, this would give you some basic information to start your report with.
Well, we can see if it is up to date for current stuff. I asked you what it knows about Chinese spy balloons.
I don't think it's gonna know about that.
No, because that's a very current thing. And Dennis, feel free to you could create an account, go in, and you could throw at these questions, which is what I'm encouraging everybody to do is give this a try. See if this will help you at all on anything. I'm just beginning to scratch the surface on this to see when I need to write something. Can this give me the answers or convey something in a better way than I would write it, if you will?
Now, this does not go out to Google and look up stuff. So,
Well, it's not tied into Google.
right.
Where it gets its stuff. First thing, this project is not owned or operated or any way involved by Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, IBM. None of them have their fingers in this in terms of the initial development but the data is coming from the World Wide Web itself. I believe that Google and Microsoft have decided wholeheartedly that they are going to embrace this and start utilizing this in their search algorithms down the line. Part of the reason is because it's a whole new way of giving an answer to a question. In the case of Google, if you go ask it something tell me about EV cars or something, it's going to give you a list of places to go find out about EV cars. But it's not going to necessarily give you a concise answer. This will give you a more an answer that you can read and understand from beginning to end instead of you having to come up with the answer. So,
And by the way, as to the length of the response, you can set that.
okay.
Yeah.
That's one of the parameters you can set. I don't know how you do it in this particular case, but you can.
And this is also the free version. There's a paid version that you can go in it'll respond quicker, it'll do all kinds of good things if you felt compelled to pay $20 a month for it.
Yeah, that's the thing that seems to be going on with any and all the AI applications that are under development is that there might be a free version, but there's also going to be a paid version anywhere between $10 and $20 per month.
Okay. They got to make their money somewhere.
I put in there my version of the Chicago Computer Society in the chat. Also, the first test I did with 2 questions. I put the text in the chat also.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see where it says upgrade to plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what does Plus do that this doesn't?
Let's see what it says. Click on it there.
Well,
Okay, I Chatbot Plus for an extra $20 per month. It'll give you access even during peak times, faster responses, and first access to new features.
Yeah.
Electric
So it's
cars.
premium access, priority access.
it also means that there are times I tried to get in and I was not able to log in.
Right.
Right.
Because
Yep.
the system was saturated with the number of
Yep.
users.
Yeah.
That $20 a month will make sure you do not get that situation.
Well, you'll have less of a chance of getting that situation.
Okay, less of a chance, whatever it may be. I'm just going
Right.
off what they say. I don't know. I had not paying the $20 a month, so I couldn't tell you.
I got an article that tells you about it,
Okay.
and I will post the name and the URL if people want to learn more. Okay, there's the name of it, and coming up the URL.
One of the other things that I've heard that people want to use, or companies want to use this for, is to create a better search engine, like
Yeah.
Bing and Google,
Yeah.
where it will give you, we talked about that before, about the concise reporting down to giving you a better response to what you're looking for.
Yeah, for some people, depending on what you're doing with search, it avoids hours and hours of going through refining your search terms.
Right. This is also conversational. So
Yeah.
because it's called a chat, you can start a subject. So we'll start a subject. Let's go on to somebody give me a subject, anything.
How about when will the chat system be the beginning of what robots know?
Okay, that's going to be a.
Hey, Stanford.
Well, everyone's always worried about when AI is going to become self-aware. This is something I was trying to build up a subject from. So can we work with something a little more realistic?
Let me ask a question. I don't know if this is what you're looking for, but if we ask ChatGPT, can you give me a list of YouTube videos about Windows 11? Would it actually try to find YouTube videos?
Okay, let's try that.
Yes, it will be able to do that.
Yeah.
Videos about Windows 11.
You want to put YouTube in there?
Let's just see what it does.
Let's see what it does.
See what it does.
Now, once it gets an answer that's very general, can you ask it to refine the answer to something more specific?
That's what we want to do. That was my objective on this, is I want to explore the chat part of us, because it remembers your conversations. It's not like you're done. You ask the one question and you're done. It's supposed to continue on until you create a new conversation.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing about these responses is it doesn't give us a link or anything to get to this stuff.
Look at number 5 there, Bob.
What?
Each by Linux.
No, Linus.
Linus.
Oh,
Linus.
Linux.
Linus Tech
Sorry,
Tips
sorry,
covers various platforms.
my bad.
It started out as a Linux-centric thing, but
Okay.
it expanded.
So we want to refine this and ask it.
Ask it for links.
I was gonna say the same thing.
What did you say?
Ask it for the
Ask it
links.
for links.
Smoke
Add
the
links to the answers.
I tried a question.
There you go.
Yeah.
Got it.
know.
This is how you are going to improve your search.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can, and that was the purpose here. And
Yep.
Dennis, thanks for getting us on the right path here. I wanted to illustrate the fact this is actually a chat that keeps building upon itself, and you can keep building and building.
Yeah.
For example, I might be looking for a new computer. Please tell me what the best new computers are, and then go on to, can you tell me the technical specs? And
price
then,
comparisons.
and then you can change your mind and say something like, well, I think I'd like to go, refine it to a certain price range, various other things.
How about, hey, Sanford, how about, has the Chicago Computer Society put out any YouTube video?
Huh?
Well, while you're playing with that there, I put in one, what is known about Windows 12? And the first paragraph, as of my knowledge, cutoff date of September 2021
Yeah.
and my current data of February 2023, there are no official information about Windows 12 operating system released from Microsoft. And then it goes on about Windows 10 and so forth, and 11.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this does not have the answer to your question.
Right.
That's because it's current and future.
Well, there it gave us our website.
Well, there is a Tech for Seniors meeting live on Thursday that's going to discuss Windows 12 based upon the recent Comdex teaser that Microsoft put out.
Okay, so let's stay on here. Let's see, did they, oh, look,
Your YouTube channel is up there.
there you go.
Yeah, they got the website.
Yeah, look at, so this does have some good answers to it.
Just instead of me doing it, just to see what happens, does Chicago Computer Society have a Facebook page?
It just mentioned it, Facebook and Twitter.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Social media pages.
Okay. I didn't spot that.
Okay.
Number 3.
I agree.
So do the members here see a benefit to this?
Yes, if you're trying to refine a search, you're definitely going to do better with this than just trying to rack your brain for keywords.
Right. If you're any kind of a person that does researching, even on a casual basis, this could be a very good tool for that. It could also be for especially college or high school students, a way of seeding an idea, because one of the problems that a lot of students have is, I got to write a paper and I haven't got a clue how to start or where to start. This might give them a springboard.
How about I wrote a thesis on the interactive viscosity of benzene and amyl alcohol. And I'm wondering if that would show up.
You want me to write in, I wrote a paper?
No, ask them if they've got information on interactive viscosity
Hold
of
on, hold on,
benzene.
hold on. I can't type like that.
Why
Wayne,
not?
first thing, hold it, Wayne.
Why
You
not?
have a login. Go log in and you try it.
Pardon?
Yeah,
Because you could write those big words on there a lot easier.
I think Wayne, if you logged in, if you have an account, you'd be much quicker to type
Yeah,
that.
he
Yeah,
does have an
exactly. That's what I
account,
was
he
trying to
said.
get at, Wayne,
I'll have to check. I'll check it out. I've
okay.
got to get my. I've got to get my information I wrote down. It's in another
Oh,
room.
you started giving me about viscosity of benzene, blah, 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 blah.
Does ChatGPT keep track of all the searches?
How about
Let me.
who
Yes.
is the representative and the senators for the state of Illinois?
Okay, hold on. Dennis, if you look on the left side, it says new chat is the very beginning. The second thing down was Chicago Computer Society. It should remember that's the conversation I started with. So it does remember, and you can clear your conversations. I did a short story request just in the very beginning just to see if this worked, and it did. It does not seem to remember. Okay, I asked about Windows 11, and it's not. It didn't zero me out, so I guess I would start a new chat, is what I would do, and then it'll remember that. Let's see, start a new chat. Okay, so if I started a new chat, and then now I say, tell me, wait, I don't want to do that. Let's come up with a new subject.
Would it recognize Wayne Pritzel as the author of a paper?
We'll find out when Wayne goes and he does his own search, okay?
What is a munchkin cat?
I'm sorry?
What is a munchkin cat?
AMUN.
IN. This has got to be cute.
There you go.
This is what one of my cats is.
Oh. You mean it's a dachshund cat?
Yeah.
Yeah, a cat like a dachshund. Huh. Well, there's your paragraph.
Yeah.
Yep. And it wrote it up in the upper left on the new chats.
And
It
there's
said Munchkin cat description.
if my cat wasn't fixed, it could be worth $1,000 to $2,000 for breeding.
Yeah. Oops. Somebody shouldn't have went snip, snip.
I did. I told the person who did the snip snip.
Okay, we see how that works. Dennis?
And Pete, they resent the use of the term midget cat. They prefer you say small cat.
Well, it's mostly
Not
the
small or short.
It's the shorter legs, but some of the material I found out about this says they're not good jumpers. My cat does pretty damn good.
And they probably would rather you refer to them as height challenged.
Pete. Pete,
Yes.
give me a question related to what you do at your place. Like, how do I, or tell me how to program to cut.
Oh, okay, I've got one in my head. What is the best bit for cutting quarter-inch bit? For cutting quarter-inch slots in acrylic plastic.
ACR, yeah, LIC.
LIC.
Let's see what it says.
Straight flute carbide tip.
Spiral
Pete's
flute
going to
bit.
tell us whether this is right or wrong.
Bit diameter larger than the slot.
No, it can't be. Got to be smaller than the slot.
So there you have. So Pete says no, it's wrong. It's got to be smaller.
Otherwise, you can't cut the slot.
I think from what it's describing, it really means smaller diameter.
But they're saying larger.
It thinks a larger diameter will prevent the bit from binding in the slot. That's exactly what a smaller diameter does.
Yeah.
So its source, it misinterpreted.
Right.
It should be a slightly smaller bit than the slot you want to cut.
It is the incorrect. The best bit for cutting acrylic. The best bit. You typing?
No, I'm listening to you first.
Okay, the best bit for cutting an acrylic slot is a single flute D-shaped spiral upcut bit.
Now they said a straight flute, not a straight.
Single flute.
Single flute D-shaped.
V-shape?
Flute is with
D.
F-L-U-T-E.
D is in dog.
D.
F-L-U-T-E. Upcut bit.
You misspelled flute.
Yeah.
Flute needs a trailing E. And instead of a best bit, the best bit.
D.
Okay.
The.
Okay.
Upcut bit.
One size smaller than the width of the slot.
Width of the slot.
Smaller width.
And then the width of the slot.
Then the width of. Not wrong placement, but
Wrong
close.
place.
Yeah, then becomes before.
Width.
Then the width. Before width.
One size smaller width of the slot.
One size smaller than.
And the width.
One size smaller width.
One side.
Then the width.
One size smaller than.
Than the. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully I did that right.
Hey, Pete, if it comes back and says, no, I disagree with Pete, I'll be impressed.
Now, the purpose of this exercise was to see, can it get into some technical stuff that only Pete would know? and
meaning the rest of the people that do this shit, no.
Well, you're right. And, I wouldn't know, but boy, I'm glad it does have some good technical information in here.
Yeah. And it has corrected itself.
And it corrects itself.
The problem is, if you tell it how you think it was incorrect, it will feed back what it thinks you want to see. Not necessarily what it has determined to be the best answer.
Yeah, but we saw that it will change its answers.
Yeah. And now if you start getting a little bit on the political side, people can get things about diseases and treatments and preventions, which they can then say this is incorrect, and they can shape the response, and they end up with an echo chamber.
And that could very well be. And I didn't want to get into the negative aspects of this. I don't know what kind of checks and balances are in this system to combat those kind of inaccuracies or spam that people could be throwing out there to try to fool the system.
Well, periodically there is human intervention, and they review any changes that have been made.
Stanford, why can't you ask ChatGPT that question? When I correct your response, how do you know that I'm giving you the correct answer?
Yeah.
So it is admitting that it doesn't really know whether what it's being fed is correct or not. It doesn't have filters for that.
Okay. Yeah. This is all new. That's all I can say. I'm not trying to defend it, but I think this is some pretty cool stuff here. And you may find it beneficial to use in your searching things when you're searching for stuff to try and use this as a resource other than our typical Bing and Google that's available to us.
Can I try one more?
Yeah, Pete.
What is the best feed rate and speed?
I think he said feed.
Feed, F-E-E-D.
Yeah. This would be easier if you did this, Pete.
Rate and speed for cutting acrylic with a 5-horse spindle router.
Oh my God.
What?
I'm this
A what?
a 5 horsepower spindle router.
God, this guy's got to come up with these tough ones. This is not conversational. This is like specific answers. Depending
He's doing
upon
good.
several factors, diameter. This is all geek talk to me.
I know that. That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah. Being in computers is a geeky.
All right, Pete.
Good.
How'd this go?
Real good.
Okay. So I guess kind of works. All right. So let's see. Do we have any other questions or place that we should start with? Let's go with a new conversation. Maybe something else we can build up on. Or do you believe we've done enough of this and we should go on to a new topic?
Offhand, one comment is like regular search engines up to this point, what you put in for your search value determines what you're going to get back. So that's why you have to, if you don't see what you're looking for, then you're going to have to try and think of a different way of phrasing something or using some different words.
One thing I would suggest, Sanford, if you want to put in anything else, we know that it looks at YouTube to get information. Is there a way we can ask it whether it gets any of its source material from Pinterest or Twitter or any of these other websites?
The answer is
What's your
yes,
source?
it does.
Just
I-
ask it, what is your source for information?
You'll get a very general response.
Almost anything put out on the internet.
Mhm.
Books, articles, websites, etc.
Now, if I understand correctly, this is only available in the English language at this time.
Could be, but it'll learn the others probably pretty quickly.
Okay, so as we see, the response here is it's not a specific source. It's a whole plethora of stuff.
That's right.
Anything it can reach on the internet is a potential source.
Just like that Watson program where it could answer questions. Basically, it's just going out and looking at everything the same way.
Probably.
But even better, because it's not an IBM product anymore.
Oh.
And does not have IBM corporate restrictions on it. This is an open product. Is YouTube one of those sources?
I'm sure Wikipedia has a big place in it too.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm exposing here or elaborating what is its sources, and I took it a little step further to see what is YouTube part of it. And yes, it's keeping the conversation going. I have not figured out how to get it to write a story though, and then tell it to have the story be limited by the number of pages or words or whatever or context. I would like to do that.
That's that's like the search engine. The verbiage you put in that one line there will determine its creation of an essay, a term paper, a story, etc. And then it's supposed to ask you the question, do you want, I think, 3 pages or 6 pages?
Okay, so you said that was where?
It's the verbiage that you put in that bottom line there that will determine the type of story, term paper, essay, and ask you the question, how long of a page do you want? 3 or 6, I think it is.
In other words, if you tell it I want 1,000 words, will it give you 1,000?
I think that's probably the key. I want 1,000 words or I want 3,000 words, as an example. And when you say essay, term paper, or story, that signifies what you're in general looking for.
All right, so we'll see what it does with this one. You can all see what I told it
I'm
to
going to
do.
bet the first right is upgrade to premium.
Yeah.
There, it's writing. It's taken a while for it to put this together, but it is doing it. It's putting the elements together that I put in.
Yeah, but it didn't ask you how long of a thing do you want.
I said a short story. No, it did not.
Well, maybe it recognized short stories, so it's going to be less than 3 pages.
Yeah.
It's when you're more open ended and you're expecting something longer that it probably asks you, like saying 1,000 words or 3,000 word story.
So I did hear of on the podcast, this one person does use ChatGPT to write bedtime stories that she could read to her kids.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a fellow who not only used AI to write a couple or three children's stories, but also used AI to generate the art that went with them, the pictures, the illustrations.
Ooh.
And the artistic community jumped all over this fellow when he started distributing the result on Amazon.
Oh, he tried to sell it?
Yep.
Ah,
And the artistic community said, wait a minute,
right.
you're infringing on intellectual property. Your AI has infringed on intellectual property. And he said, oh, I didn't realize that could be happening.
Yeah. This is a whole new avenue, but I think I heard that AI content cannot be copyrighted.
It's worse than that. AI content infringes on intellectual property in the
Right.
music and visual arts industries.
And
Yeah.
this is creating a nice little story here. This is fun.
I got on my other computer and I did do this thing, and it comes up giving me some general information, but it doesn't get down to the specifics like
Does
I
it,
did in my
does it
thesis.
give you credit, Wayne?
Pardon?
Does it give Wayne credit?
No. I told at Lamar University where I did that, and it doesn't know anything about it.
Well, I guess you weren't famous enough.
Oh,
Yeah.
so Wayne, this was pre-internet, Wayne, then, or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
A couple of millennia ago.
Oh, Wayne, was this
1969.
published on the internet?
Yeah, was your thesis ever posted on the internet?
It's done.
I don't know. I published. It was published, and and given to the library at Lamar University,
Yeah,
Beaumont, Texas.
that would probably have been before they were digitizing these things.
Oh yeah, it was 1969.
Yeah, so if it hasn't been digitized, this AI would not be able to reach it.
But it did show up one time when I put my name in Google, and it did recommend, indicate that I'd done some work on that.
That be that the university had published uh, the author and the subject, but that was it, and not the content.
Right.
Yeah, they would be author, subject, abstract, and if you want the content, you have to pay for a particular service.
Right.
And this thing cannot penetrate paywalls.
Okay. Wow, this is cool. Is it still writing?
No, it's done.
No, I think it's done.
When it finishes,
Yeah.
it puts the subject up at the top under your chat.
Over
Yeah.
on the left side.
It's up there on your chats.
This is great. This is really good. I like this thing.
If you ask it to add another 100 words, would it do it to this?
Okay, let's tell it to add another 50 words.
Probably have to rewrite the whole thing.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Regenerating response.
No. It finished.
There it goes.
Yeah.
So I guess it will add another 50 words, and you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than 50 words, though.
Well, whatever. One, two. You want to count them all? I'm not going to bother. I got more important.
I don't have many more.
Sure looks like close to 50 to me.
Yeah, 4 lines of 12
guess so.
line.
Yeah. 2, 3.
Yeah, 4 lines times 12 would be about right.
Yeah, 48, yeah.
Okay,
guess it
Wayne,
is.
come on. Wayne,
Yeah.
you being a stickler because it might have been 48 instead of 50, or it could be 51 instead of 50.
Yeah.
Not every word is actually considered a word in this kind of stuff.
You know, you
Okay.
engineers, you drive me nuts. Okay.
When you do a word count in Word, does it do a literary word count or does it do an exact word count?
It has certain
Ask it.
words that aren't considered in the count.
Word does have some words that are not considered in its own word count.
Right.
Okay,
Like A,
good to know.
like and the, or something like that.
It's been a while since I saw the details, but that's one of the things about writing, that it doesn't. It's every word that you see isn't a word.
Right, right.
What do I want to say? Anyways, any other questions on this subject? Otherwise, we can close this one off and go to something else.
What's the limitations part of this section?
It's interesting. I just asked it if where does the Chicago Computer Society hold computer-related meetings? It says that I'm sorry, but as an AI language model, I don't have access to real-time information.
Okay.
It does give the website though.
That's good.
Yeah. So it does come up with the website.
So it says it's good. The data is good all the way up until till 20 and 21.
September 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know if it actually gets any information from Twitter, which is not really the internet? Is it?
Yeah, well, anything that's on the internet since its inception is available out there to this kind of a program.
Well, Twitter is more conversational rather than fact.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's
Let's see if it uses it.
it's all text based.
There you go.
No social media.
It's a social
No,
media
direct,
platform,
no.
and therefore it does not.
Yeah.
And so I guess the answer to
It
that,
says that it does use text from Twitter for its training. So yeah,
yep.
it has used text that originated on Twitter.
It is Twitter is nothing but a lot of text, and most
Right.
of what you find out on Facebook outside of pictures and videos is a lot of text, so it can go through it too.
But it says it's not going directly to Twitter.
Directly correct. It usually is picking up, shall we say, feeds from other sources that are repeating something that was out
From
on
Twitter.
Twitter or Facebook,
Right.
etc.
And I would suspect that's because it does not have social media accounts to be able to tap into to get what you're looking for.
Well, also you have sites that are trying to stop bots and other things like that, and it may treat AI programs as a bot.
Right.
Yeah.
Will this draw a picture? I mean, can we get a picture of a Chicago Computer Society user?
I don't think.
Oh yeah. Yeah, have it generate a picture.
I don't think.
This is not. No.
No.
This-
You'd
no,
have to use a different AI engine for
That's
that.
right.
Right.
This
Okay.
is
This
strictly
is-
conversational or word-based information.
Right.
Okay.
There's another site that does that. There's an app.
I guess that's that Google thing that
No,
There is
Google
an-
isn't
no-
even out yet.
There is an
Bart.
app that is already out there.
BART is what you're thinking of from Google, and then you have Bing's version, and neither one's available right now.
Yeah, but there is available an app, or at least there was available an app that would generate art and would generate pictures and caricatures. And I think at least one of those apps they had to withdraw because of what it was doing. It was being used to sexualize children. So one of them they withdrew.
So there's your answer. No, it doesn't.
Now, there are apps out there,
See?
however, that do.
Come on, you're asking it, can it draw? That doesn't have a physical body.
That can help us though.
Can it write mathematical formulas?
Yeah.
Yes, that I think it can do.
It probably would work.
Yeah.
Ask it what's the formula for the area of a circle.
Or you could have it calculate how much seed you would need to seed your yard based on its dimensions.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. IR squared.
IR squared. Look at that. It even illustrated
Yeah.
exactly.
It even tells you what pi is. 3.14159.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Mass equals 1 ton. What does it say? Size equals 3 feet.
You got to go
It should
cubic.
be. It should be more than 3 feet, but never mind.
Hey, listen, let's see what it does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'd say it does. I have zero idea if this is correct.
I hate to ask this, but what if you asked it for the formula for making nitroglycerin?
But that's something you could
You can get the
Not the
formula very
formula, the
easily.
process.
Google that.
Process.
We're trying to see about processing here and not trying to stump it.
Right.
Because
No, will I tell you something like, how do I make nitroglycerin, or how do I make meth? Will it tell you?
You know, Dennis, you want to get an accountant, you could do that. Please do it. Okay. I'm not trying to get the feds knocking on my door.
Why not?
I made nitrobenzene in college, used in an additive.
What is
my
that,
car.
Wayne? What is that, Wayne?
Nitro and benzene.
Yeah. We use nitric acid and benzene in a
What?
reflux thing.
Yeah, and does that have a very high potential for explosion?
What does it do, Wayne? Nitrobenzene.
Well, they use that in race cars.
Yeah, they
They
call
used
it
to.
nitro. They call it nitro fuel.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. We can close this out if you guys want and go on to a new subject, or we can continue on to this for the rest of the night.
Well, you only got about 20 minutes or so left.
Right. So
What if you ask it about a person?
I'm sorry.
What if you ask it about a person?
Okay. What about a person?
Well, I mean, pick a person and have it like well, I don't want to get too political, but so
Well,
No,
ask it
use,
about
use
somebody.
me. Ask it about me.
No. Go from
No.
somebody in history. If you don't want to be something political locally, just so, John Adams, did he cross the Delaware or something like that?
Who is Abraham Lincoln?
Well, that'd be a long story.
Right.
These are, I
Sometimes
guess,
into 15 words.
How about who invented air conditioning?
okay,
Yeah.
Ooh.
that's an easy one. We all know
No,
who
it's
did that.
not.
Actually, no, it is easy.
Because the Persians had a form of air conditioning.
It is possible just to use ice or cold water
New chap.
if you know how.
That was the first
Who
car air conditioners.
invented
You'd hang them in the window.
I
air?
created one when I was a
Everybody-
kid. I had a swamp thing.
Oops, an error.
I think they were talking about movie theaters being the first place.
All right. See, I might have gotten kicked out here. Let's see.
There you go.
Sometimes I have to restart my session.
Really?
Try a new chat. Do a new chat. Yeah.
This is a new
It's in
chat.
new chat.
Okay.
No, they've had car air conditioning since the Flintstones.
Oh,
Story television has a lot of these kind of things.
Harrier.
1902.
yep, it was introduced at the World's Fair.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was here in Chicago, wasn't it?
Not 1902.
No,
No.
not that one.
No,
That was
this is when it
1932.
invented. When was this?
Is that Louis? St. Louis?
Might have been New York in 1902.
I thought it was Chicago's World's Fair of 1908.
No.
1904.
1904.
Okay.
World
St.
Fair.
Louis.
And it was St. Louis.
Missouri.
Yep, the purpose of air conditioning was to remove the humidity of the paper in the printing room, for the printing presses.
Paper and ink.
Yep.
How about how many people are on the moon?
I don't know how many people are on the moon.
I don't know. There was some email story today that said that there are people on the moon.
Okay, so any more on this 1904 World's Fair?
What else did they have there?
Yeah.
Just started, well,
Yeah, let's see if it tells me this one, if it has any idea.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really dogging down.
Well, you're overtaxing it.
Wow. Almost
Yeah.
20 million people.
I got one more question for it when
ran
it's done.
7 months? Wow.
By
All
the
right.
way, that term, Louisiana Purchase Exposition, it was because it was about a century after the purchase.
Louisiana.
Okay.
These World's Fairs often were named for centennials of events.
Yeah.
Why are there not?
See, now it says it.
Gotta give it credit. It's pretty smart.
Wow. It's still cranking away.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Well, you can hit that where it says stop generating.
Yeah, I'm going to. Okay.
So ask it if the walk-through bird cage at the St. Louis Zoo is a remnant of the fair.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
I often wondered how come we don't do World's Fairs anymore.
Yeah.
I guess there's
They're
no reason
expensive.
for it. We have the internet.
They're expensive, there's environmental impacts, and countries don't want to come.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any? You've got to help me with this one. Remnant. Remin.
REMNANT.
Yes.
Nope, NA. REMNANTS. There we go.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it.
I have trouble with some very simple words.
19.
I can't spell at all anymore.
One of the advantages of right clicking sometimes when you see that red underline.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or just dictation.
Palace of the Arts.
House of Fine Arts.
History Museum.
Yeah.
Jewel Box.
Box.
Greenhouse.
Yeah, that's it. I've seen that.
Cascades and Grand Basin.
Wow.
Pavilion. Missouri State Building.
These are a few.
Nothing about the birdcage.
No, I thought they said the jewel box.
Yes.
Jewel Box is a greenhouse.
Greenhouse.
Ah.
Yeah.
In
It
Forest
says
Park.
this is just a few examples. Okay, so
Yeah.
Pete wanted to know, is the jewel,
No.
No.
sorry,
Mm.
birdhouse.
Is the birdhouse
At the St. Louis Zoo.
at the St. Louis Zoo?
L. Not St. Louis. Yeah, there.
A remnant.
A remnant. MNA.
I got it. I got remnant.
Of. There we go. Yes.
Okay, so the nice thing here,
Blank
this
cage.
illustrates it really well, is that when it gives you the answers, it just doesn't give you it gives you the answer conversationally
Right.
that you could just read through and put really nicely, which I think is a much better way than saying, yeah, here it is, and this is where it's located.
Yeah, and it can answer types of questions that an ordinary keyword search can't.
Yeah, it seems to do that.
But you've got to be careful about evaluating what it says.
Yes.
Make sure you fact check anything it finds.
Very true. Very true.
And if it's anything technical, it has more of a chance of making a mistake.
Right. As Pete has disclosed about the specific bit that it said to use,
Yeah. course, it might have been looking at a handheld router, and you shouldn't use spiral bits on a handheld router because they go crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know that. All right, I think this is, any other comments or people want to make about
This
this?
dead horse enough?
I think we've done pretty good on this.
Let me just ask you one thing. It kept track. I saw it did keep track of your conversation, Stanford, in the panel there, all the
Yes.
stuff you were asking. Why does that mean if you go back and click on one of those, it will reopen that conversation, or why does it, or is it just to? Why does it keep track of them? So you can bring it up again, or just to refresh?
If you want to ask more questions.
Okay.
So the FBI can find Stanford.
No. Dennis, the answer is yes. You can click on each one of those, and it's a different window it opened up. It gives you what you had there,
Okay.
what all responses were. You click on another one, it gives you all those responses. So they're still there until you clear it.
Okay.
So you close your session, come back tomorrow, re-log in, all those questions and things you had are still there, and responses are still there. Because I just tried that and it works.
Yeah, mine from the other day's there.
Oh yeah, I did. The first time I used this, I was experimenting with a couple of different things, subjects, and then I closed it out and came back to it. I'm going, oh, they're still there, and they were there the day later. So it doesn't forget these until you clear your conversation.
Can you click on individual ones to clear and keep others, or it's all or nothing to clear?
Dennis, you play with it and you tell me. Okay, I don't know.
I bet you it only does one at a time.
I believe.
Yeah, I
believe it clears them all, but I could be, because I think that on there, clear conversations, plural, not singular. But you can. There's a delete key next to each one of them, and you can throw that conversation into the trash bin.
So the answer is you can get rid of individual conversations or ones that you select, but if you hit that general key, it's going to get rid of all of it.
Oh, correct. Now, by next meeting, Dennis and the rest of everybody, I would hope that everyone logs in and gives this a whirl. And I have learned more just in this short time tonight, right now, on how to use this than I did when I first landed on this pages and tried it out, because I was lost and I wasn't asking all the questions correctly. And I find that this is something you need to play with over and over and over with different scenarios to see how it's going to work. We were talking earlier, and Tim was saying that you could write a thesis or a paper and you want it to be so many words long. Well, I haven't seen how you get there to that point, but I'm sure all that stuff is in there. I just don't know how to do it. Maybe it's in your development stages and you say, write me a whatever, and it's got to be this, number of pages, words, whatever. Maybe that's where you lay out the scenario. I don't know. This is to be learned. But Tim's going to try that part out.
Check out the Digital Trends article that I posted in chat, and it may give some other ideas about how to use it.
Okay.
And it does have a section on how to use it and how to register and prompts. What can you ask? And can it be used for essay writing? And will it replace Google? And what does ChatGPT have to do with Microsoft Bing? And what is the future? That's what the article covers.
It might be useful just to ask it, is there a YouTube video or some instructions out there on how to use Chat Group?
Well, there are articles.
YouTube. Yeah, go to YouTube and just ask that.
Yeah.
Look up ChatGPT on YouTube. I'll
I
bet
think
you there's
there's been
something out there.
every day many articles on this.
Yes, there are many articles coming out on this constantly, and there's all new ways to use it.
I find many videos, one from ZDNet and a tutorial from ChatGPT itself, from the creators of it, and all kinds of other stuff. And there's one for developers and how to use it with code to improve code.
Mm-hmm.
That would be AI code.
I put in that Word document that you were looking for about the history of the Computer Society. Hopefully you'll see it in there. In the chat.
And another suggestion is people can use it to learn and practice English if it's not their native language.
Or, yeah, I guess because it doesn't speak foreign languages, so I guess you couldn't tell it to teach you Spanish. But
people just learn how to use English by using ChatGPT.
okay.
And there's a video about that.
Sure.
So there's all kinds of videos.
Yeah, for any of the documents that are in the chat, you'll have to download them. They're not automatically saved.
I already got one version of that document, but let's download the other one.
There's 3 documents out there, so
Yep,
if you
got
want
them all.
download them before we log off.
Got them all, and there is my article.
Okay, I think we're done here with this. Anyone else got a comment on ChatGPT? No, good. And I wanted to ask, is there anything else in my list that I'd sent out that somebody feels an urgent need that we need to cover tonight? Good. I will stop the recording.
Recording stopped.
And tell everybody thank you very much for attending tonight's meeting of the Tips and Tricks SIG. I think it was a really good meeting tonight. And yeah, even Pete says thumbs up. Wayne says thumbs up. See, those people that missed out, it's amazing what they're missing out on. I think this was a good subject, and circled back to in months or a year from now in one of our other clubs. But I thought this was really good, and I hope everybody, I encourage you to try this thing out. It's free, might as well. And the more you play with it, the better it will work for you. You know, if you need to write a course.
We can create our own presentation that way.
You could create a, hey, Wayne, I think this is a good subject here for presentation.
If you do create a presentation using this, it would, of course, be a springboard, and you would then put in your own pictures or illustrations, and you would refine what it does. And that's exactly what people are doing with essays when they're using it properly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I brought up earlier.
Okay, thank you. Thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see everybody. We've got another meeting. Well, Thursday is the meeting, right?
Thursday.
Yeah.
Actually, we got 2 Thursdays, some of us anyway.
Mm-hmm. And happy Valentine's Day to all you guys.
Yeah.
I noticed no women in the group. I wonder why.
Aloha
Are you
from
sure?
Hawaii at 84 degrees.
Yeah, Pete, I had some neighbors that came back from Maui, and they were there for 2 weeks, and they said it was terrible. It was so windy. They just came back. Apparently last week you had horrible winds.
Oh, yeah, the trays are in full bore blown, and they're coming in out of that's a northeasterly.
Yeah.
From the northeast, and it's the cold portion of the Pacific that is coming across right now. So yeah, and then we had about a week of rain.
Yeah, they had that too.
There. So we got our rain for the year up here in the desert.
They said that Maui is extremely expensive to go and visit, extremely expensive to stay, and the best food was from the food trucks.
Absolutely.
Are you guys sending the balloons?
What?
Are you guys
No,
sending
we're not
the balloons?
sending the balloons.
Did you find
I
any?
don't think those lasers are coming down. I think they're going up.
But they do launch balloons from the island, don't they? Weather balloons? No?